Want to go far in business and in life? You can't do it alone. The secret is expanding your network of personal relationships, building friendships, connecting on an intimate level, away from the office, over a coffee or cocktail. Welcome to All In with Nate Payo, the show that asks what happens when you go all in and leverage the power of your network of personal relationships.
Hello. This is the All In podcast with Nate Payo. I am your host, Nate Payo. This episode is a solo episode that I made after I had left the gym the other day. And I wasn't quite sure if it was going to be a podcast or if it was going to be an Instagram video. Turned out it's a little bit longer than an Instagram video, so I'm sharing it here with you as a podcast. It's a little bit of a rant, a little bit of a take on kind of comparison of gym advice and how it translates to business motivation, goal setting advice, and my thoughts on doing big things versus small things. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you enjoy it. At the end of the show, if you could leave a review, leave a comment, what you thought about it. That always helps us get a little bit better. And if you find value in it, please subscribe to our show or share it with a friend that you might know that would find value in it as well. Anyways, let's get started. So this may be a podcast. It may be an Instagram video or something like that. We'll see how it goes. I got a little rant, maybe thoughts that I was thinking about. So I tried to go to the gym as many days in a row as I can. And the reason is kind of behind this idea of if you consistently put in like 80% effort, you're always going to have a little bit more in the tank to come back the next day. But when you go 100 or too fast out of the gate, you have a great workout. You're tired, you're exhausted, but then you end up, too tired the next day to go. And what happens is like 1 day off becomes 2 days off, becomes 2 weeks off, becomes 2 years off. So it's all about building momentum, and keeping this steady pace of consistently coming back, consistently making progress. And over time, those consistent steps, that consistent effort is going to pay off in the long run over going spikes of high effort, no effort, high effort, no effort. And that's my theory. That works for me. I think it's, maybe a little bit controversial. I think a lot of people are like, no, you always want to, do that one last rep. That's where the magic happens. That's where the strength is built. For me, it doesn't work like that. I disagree with that. I think you're better off just keeping it at a consistent effort and being consistent, because this is a long run. We're not doing fitness for a week or 2 weeks or 3 months to get to a certain thing. You should be having this intention that it's for life. It's a habit. It's a lifestyle. Same thing relates to productivity or motivation or business or whatever you want to call it. For me, I'm gonna just call it productivity, but take the two as I'm talking about this interchangeably. Fitness to whatever it is you might be working on to improve your life, whether it's getting better at your job, achieving some goals, fitness, starting a business, whatever the fuck it is for you. Just don't get too bogged down on what I'm calling it. So anyways, I this past week got sidetracked from my goal, or my, I guess, my theory or my way of doing things, which was, like I just said, this 80% consistent effort. And I got greedy, and I decided, hey, I'm going to mix it up. I've been doing the same thing for a few weeks. And my workout is, I use this app. It's called Fitbod app or Fitbod. I have to look it up, but I'll link it in the show notes. Feels like this is going podcast route. It's a little longer than a quick video. But anyways, this app, it uses artificial intelligence to kind of program workouts for you. And you can put a bias, whether it's bodybuilding, powerlifting, body weight, whatever, and you can customize it to your gym. You can select equipment you have and don't have, exercise you want to do and don't want to do. And then it starts gathering data on what your previous lifts are, what muscles are tired, and what weights you've done and rep sets and all this stuff, and magic happens and it shoots out this workout for you. And one of the things it does is it sets up your time. It's based on kind of like the time you want to put into it. So if you put in like about an hour, it generates about 7 exercises that go start off with warm up, big compound lifts, your big lifts, your heavy lifts, your heavy weights, the big meat and potatoes. And then it trickles into some accessory stuff. And then the last bit's like abs or lower back, like finisher stuff. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And if you add your time to an hour and 15 or 45 minutes, it shortens the amount of exercises you do, but it really keeps the core exercises, the heavy, the power, the compound lifts tend to stay. And what drops off is some of the extracurricular supplemental exercise or whatever. So remember that, because I'm going to come back to that point. So anyways, I set mine for about an hour, and I do this. I try to go 7 days a week because I know life will get in the way and something will come up and I'll miss a day here or there. So we don't plan rest days. We just go because we know the rest days will plan themselves. And if we're tired, or if I'm tired, I use some advice that Jocko Willink promotes. It's if you want to take a rest day, take it tomorrow. And chances are when you're feeling like you need that rest day today, if you go anyways, get there, go through the motions, do the work, even if it's just reducing the scale, just going and just doing the bar for squats, whatever, like you're going to kind of, move your muscles. You're going to get some benefit from that. Something is better than nothing. And then chances are the next day, that feeling of not wanting to go the day before was just weakness, and you're kind of back on track. But if you do wake up and you're like, hey, I still feel like I need that rest day, then you take that rest day. So that's kind of my theory on the rest day. It's not my theory, but I've adopted it. And that's what I've been doing for about the last couple of years. And I've been posting a lot more of it. So a lot of you guys have been seeing it more on social media the last few months, but really that's the gist of it. So this week I decided, like, hey, I've been kind of in this series of 7 to 8 exercises every day. I'm going to ramp it up and do a bit more. And my thought was like, hey, I'll just adapt. I'll adapt to the volume and it'll be my new baseline. Well, of course, it didn't quite go as planned. I had those days where I was like putting in a ton of effort. And what happened is then today's Friday, I went in and weights and effort that should have been relatively, easy. They've been challenging, but they're not approaching like max effort where, some days you got it, some days you don't. This was just kind of like, hey, I should have this every single day, no matter what. And it was tiring. It was exhausting. And I realized I was doing too much and I was not able to keep this sustained effort. And then it reminded me to kind of like rethink this thing. So when you're going and you make, when I'm talking about productivity, for me, it's like a list of tasks. Maybe for you, it's goals. Maybe it's a to-do list, whatever it might be, or it's your exercise program. And you have this list of like 20 things on it and you want to do it. You go and you try to get it and it's overwhelming. And you maybe the first day you get a bunch of stuff checked off the box and you add a bunch more to the list and it's this big list. And then over like a week or over some time, you can't keep up with that list. You start not getting things done that's on the list, things start slacking off, or you work on the stuff that's on the list that doesn't fucking matter. So for me, I like to have a running list of things that I need to get done, but then I have a sub list of, hey, what are the 5 things that if I got done today, they'd be really important. And that kind of goes back to your workouts. And of course, this is my theory, works for me, but I think it works for most people when you have this set. So for me, the big tasks are like going to the gym and doing your big lifts, the compound lifts with heavy weight, barbell, rep schemes, like say 3s to 5s to 8s. And it's going to be your back squat, your deadlift, the clean, or the press or bench press. Those 4 or 5 exercises are like the core bread and butter. That's going to build you the strength. That's going to give you power. That's going to give you everything you need. And it's going to trickle down. If you focus on those 5 things, it trickles down to the accessory stuff, your arms, your lower back, your neck, your other items. And so when you focus on those big things, they help with the small things. Even if you don't do the small things, you're going to get a benefit of it. Now, flip side, when you have this long list of things to do, a lot of it is shit that doesn't matter. Like, it's consuming information. Like, how do I do something? It's important, but you get maybe too caught up in watching Gary Vaynerchuk videos all day long, and you think, hey, I'm being productive because I'm doing these things or teaching me stuff. But in reality, you should have been working on a big compound lift or a big cast, which is go out and do. You want to be doing things. You want to be getting in front of people and doing the things that matter, that are going to move the ball forward, not just kind of, they're productivity things. You're busy, but you're not going anywhere. And that, for me, those small lifts are kind of that way. Like, if you just spend time doing accessory stuff, like, you might get big arms, but it's not going to translate to necessarily a big bench or a big back squat or a big, back. But if you work on those big things, you're going to also get a benefit of bigger arms. So take this back and forth fitness to life, work on the big things that matter, and the smaller things will kind of take care of themselves. You don't need to spend time figuring out like, hey, I want to get my logo just right. Now, I was thinking of this, and this is a scenario I think is more likely to happen. So let's say you got a great idea. You want to get your great idea in front of people, but you're holding back because you don't have a good logo. Nobody ever goes, I was just really digging your idea, your business, your product, whatever it is you're doing, except your logo sucked. So I just lost interest because your logo sucked. That rarely happens. Maybe if it's offensive or something like that. But if flip side, if you have a fabulous idea and fabulous message and you're getting that message out there in front of you, people are going to go, hey, this is good stuff. But yeah, the logo kind of sucks, but it really doesn't matter. I'm more interested in the value that's being presented to me, the meat and potatoes of whatever that is. And chances are somewhere down the road, somebody's going to look and say, hey man, you got a great message. I could help you out. I could improve your logo for you and give you some ideas, and voila, you didn't have to put in that effort of searching to find somebody great, coming up with ideas that are on message. The things you need come to you, because you're attracting better things when you're focusing on the bigger picture. So that's my little rant on working on the big things instead of the small things, and trying to keep that list down a bit narrower. That's really it. So hope you enjoyed the value in this. I'd love to hear what your comments are, what your take is on big lists, big tasks, or small focused, sustained effort. So anyways, drop a comment. Sounds like this one ran a bit longer than a quick video, so I'll probably try to use it as a podcast episode. So if you're listening to this on your podcast, please subscribe. That helps me out a lot. If you find somebody that that might find value in this, of course, love for you to share, tell them about it, give them a call, tell them in person, say, hey, I hear you like podcasts, man. Hey, check this one out. If you're seeing this on a video or a clip or something like that, then follow maybe the links. I'm sure there's a way that you can go from a video to a profile page to a link and end up at a podcast, and you can still subscribe to it. So that's all I got for you. Happy Friday. Get out there and keep doing it. Thanks.
Make sure to visit our website, therealnatepeo.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, so you'll never miss an episode of All In. While you're at it, if you found value, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if simply tell 2 friends about the show. Looking to connect? You can find Nate Peo on LinkedIn or Instagram.